The City of Angels is black and gold. You are listening to the Heart of LAFC podcast. And now, Joseph Zacher.
Greetings, Los Angeles. Welcome to episode 353 of the Heart of LAFC podcast. For this one, I'm going to call it Hunting Party, as we hunt once again for the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, this time against New Mexico United, and they're 300 strong they're bringing to the game, which sounds really cool. I got to be honest with you. I love when supporters come out to visit us, especially USL coming in hot. Let's be honest. Good news, definitely good news to see that. And of course, being this far into the Open Cup, there's only a few games to go to win this whole thing. And there's a few guys on our team, some veterans that haven't been able to do it yet. So definitely the interest is strong. Good news there. Of course, we would have a recap for you today, but the guys needed to escape from a hurricane of all things. I can't believe they hadn't even tried to out there in the first place. But hey, no match happened. Thank goodness. I think that's good for our players. A little more rested legs. Stressful getting out of there, but still better not to have to play that game, knowing that we've got two big games this week and many games ahead in a short amount of time. Of course, to get things done today and make it happen, we've got Tony, we've got Bam on the road, and we've got Araceli. And I know Araceli is going to be very busy. And I think this might be the right time, Araceli. How are you doing, by the way?
I'm actually doing all right. Kind of finally somewhat well rested. As most of you guys know, beyond Next Pro work, I've been helping out with Copa America with the last two matches here in KC, and it was a great experience. I'll be very honest, but it was also very demanding schedule-wise, which I didn't anticipate. So combining that with everything else, it just drained me. But like I said, it was still a lot of fun, met a lot of great people. And yeah, I've really just been resting the last couple of days here.
As much as you can, because it seems like from every angle, something new pops up, something crazy going on. Of course, on your LAFC 2 side, right? MLS Next Pro side, there's lots of breaking news. Crazy breaking
definitely.
news. And I think today it might be best to lead off with the LAFC 2 news, because it actually does have the most effect on us. Let's be honest. It affects our roster for the senior side.
Mm-hmm.
There's match news. They've got a recap. So let's go for it. What's going on with LAFC 2?
Do we want to check in on the other two guys first before we hop straight into LAFC 2?
Well, I think Bam can hear us. Bam, can you hear us over there?
I can hear you. Just trying to not get killed by all these drivers. I can't drive in the wet.
There you go. See, he's surviving. So we'll get him when we can, when it's safe, of course. And then there's Tony. He's in his Zen mode, preparing for a midweek match, getting things done. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty well. Like I said, it was, not gonna lie, a little bit of nice that we also got a rest. As in, I know, unfortunately, the people who travel to Houston, I'm sorry about that, but it's better for the boys because it's an extra day of rest, especially with his chaotic next 3 games.
Yeah, I heard some of the supporters had to get Ubers to like Austin and drive north so they could get out of Texas because of the weather situation. So it was a little bit of a harrowing adventure for a few people. That's for sure. And all love to you guys that made that trip when it ended up getting canceled in the first place. That's not fun at all. And of course, to the team, that wasn't easy for them as well, getting out of there. So too bad it didn't happen, but at the same time, for the sake of health and all that, better they didn't have to play in those horrible conditions. All right, Araceli, you have the floor. What's going on with LAFC 2 world, and of course, how does it affect the senior team?
Well, there's actually a lot going on in the LAFC 2 world. First things first, we have 2 brand new signings. Yes, you heard that correctly, 2. So the first one is Matt Evans. He signed an LAFC 2 contract just a few days ago. The LAFC Academy product made his MLS Next Pro debut last year, actually, scoring 2 goals in 13 appearances. The 18-year-old from Simi Valley, California, he plays attacking mid and has represented both the U.S. and Guatemala at the youth national team level. Our second signing, which actually came of this morning, is Kenny Nelson. He is signed to an LAFC2 contract. The 22-year-old center back from Irvine was originally selected in the second round of the 2024 MLS Super Draft, and it did appear in the starting lineup for LAFC2's last match against St. Louis. Now, what he's been doing in the months in between the Super Draft and this last game, I honestly cannot tell you. I tried Googling every corner of the internet and could not find information. So we can only assume he's been kind of sitting on the wings, waiting for his chance. But just much like Evans, he's also played with the U.S., the U15 and U17 national team. Both of them, well, actually, I stand corrected. Both Matt and defender Eddie Berman were signed to a short-term agreement with the first squad for the match in Houston, but as we all know, that match did not happen. But to see these two new signings and to see LAFC2 players getting called up for the first squad, it only means good things for LAFC, honestly, and for the future of it, because much as we kind of predicted at the beginning of the season, LAFC, they love to play chess. And it's clear that they're getting their players in the right positions. Just looking at this with the center back, attacking mid, we kind of already know where they could be placed, potentially in the first squad.
Yeah,
Um,
there's openings, right? I mean, it's going to happen. Adding to that, let's be honest, there was also an opening that came up because two players left us. One of whom played for LAFC2 for a bit, right?
He did for a little bit.
So yeah, so Stipe Buke sold, but that was an automatic trigger because his team actually got promoted. Yeah, right. And then Mamadou Fall, who had a horrible situation because of injury, still got signed by Barcelona B. Again, those two move on. That means roster spaces open up, salary cap space opens up, and money comes in. So there's room for more players, developing players to move in, or even senior players to move in. It creates movement. That's what it does, and that's why you're seeing things play out the way they are.
Mm-hmm.
All
No,
right. Now that
absolutely.
being said, we have the game. They did play it this weekend, right?
They did. They did play in St. Louis. Unfortunately, LAFC2 did fall to City 2 4-3 on the road, but they didn't fall without a fight. I will say that. Javier Andres Hernandez, definitely a player to keep an eye out for. The 18-year-olds opened the scoring in the 18th minute with a banger in the top right corner. This is actually Hernandez's second match that he's appeared in, and he has now officially scored in back-to-back matches, starting both of them. So, as I said, he is a player to watch out. But unfortunately, his celebration was cut short with City 2's Mateo Kidd, who had signed a City 2 contract just 3 days prior, after whipping in a screamer from outside the box off a corner to equalize in the 29th minute. Both teams go into the half all level. Starting with the second half, City 2 just dominated possession and really overwhelmed Ochoa by scoring 3 goals within a 19-minute span to increase their lead 4-1. However, coming to the 89th minute, Christopher Jaime, who I'm glad to see is back in the roster, in the roster rotation, I should say, he blasts home a chance for his first goal of the 2024 campaign. And shortly after, Timir Ratavis scores the third goal for LAFC2 off a pass from Wibowo. But unfortunately, even though he was able to pull the team within one in the dying moments, it just wasn't enough for the boys to get all 3 points on the road. But now the boys will have another tough test when they host Ventura County this Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. The game will be streamed on Apple TV if you cannot go, but I highly recommend you do go check it out because as we're seeing with the roster signings and the way that the team has been playing. As I've said before, and I know I'll sound like a broken record, but the support that the boys see, it means a lot to them. And especially with Sunday's match with Ventura in 4th place and LAFC2 in 5th place, both in the playoff race. It's going to be a good matchup.
It's technically a rivalry match, is it not?
It is.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you can make it out there, and there should be some senior players that will come down, especially the newbies. Probably going to feature in that game if you don't get a lot of minutes on the weekend. Yeah. So they'll be bolstered a bit. It's not too far away. I know over there for Tony, it's not too far at all. Right, Tony?
It is not. It's a hop, skip, and jump, and back to my hometown of where I actually used to run and play as a little kid and run the stadium before they actually
There it
built
is.
it.
So go join Tony if he can make it out, of course, and go support the boys against Ventura County. We've gotten results against them before. No reason to say that we won't this time. I know they've had some up and downs, but I got to be honest, Araceli, you probably agree. I think the up and downs are more related to the roster moves with the senior side affecting LAFC2 kind of the last second and affecting stability. That's kind of led to these results because most cases when it's the normal roster, they win, right?
I think we definitely saw that a couple months ago with the additions of like Eddie Segura and Tomas Angel. Even though they did great for the LEC2 squad, don't get me wrong, you can tell just kind of having them in there for a little bit. I don't want to say it deterred from their progression, but now that it feels like the club is taking their secondary team more seriously this season, and the boys seem to play well or more well together. I think they're on a good track. So only good things from here on, hopefully. Like I said, they're both in the playoff position with this game. I do kind of want to clarify real quick that LAFC2 is hosting it. It's in Fullerton.
It's in
Ventura
Fullerton.
hosts next month.
Oh, okay. So it's a home game.
Yeah, it's a
Definitely
home
you'll see
game
some
for
more
them.
senior side ones then. Okay.
Next month they
Hey,
go to
probably.
Thousand Oaks.
Which means there'll be supporters present. That's what
Mhm.
that's what that means. 3252 usually shows up pretty good for this one, especially because it's against the Galaxy. And anytime we can make them smart, we have fun with that. So go have fun with that. Go get crazy, make some noise, have a good time if you can get out there. It will definitely be worth your while. And I don't want to predict the win, but I feel pretty good when we play at Titan Stadium. So there you go. I'll leave it at that. All right. And then are you traveling anywhere in the recent future, Araceli?
Actually, yes. Late next week, I will be back on the road heading to Columbus for MLS All-Star.
There we go. So reporting from the MLS All-Star game, yes, Araceli is making the trek, guys. So her and a couple of our favorite players will be there. So there you go. Good stuff, Araceli. All right, let's move on to, of course, the senior side again. Again, no game this week. Gives our guys a chance to move on and do what they got to do. Again, not going to be the longest episode today because we're just going to preview the New Mexico match. And of course, we'll get your guys' comments as well. So as I see a few growing, it's about 3 so far. If you can get in there and add on too, more than happy to read your messages. That is for certain. We could do community news, but I gotta be honest, Tony, there's not much to report, right?
Yes and no. So 2 things did happen today. One, there was a new shirt drop from 3252 and I think Mongolia Park. If you saw on their socials, you have 48 hours to pre-order. It's a very theme pirate anime, if you all know which one it is. And also there is a beach day coming up soon. Let me give you the information on that
It's a
exact
beach
day.
cleanup, right?
Yes. Well, beach day, beach cleanup. I rather do beach day because, it's more fun that way sometimes. Make the masses think they're doing something else. It is a beach cleanup on July 22nd from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Tower 58. Pretty much, we help to, beautify the West Coast and feel to stay put, so clean up, and they'll have a bonfire in the evening. So bring your chanclas if you can. So it'll be at Tower 58 in the location, and more. I'll put more details on it, and keep posting about it. It is at Dock Wheeler Beach, by the way.
Dockweiler, yes.
Dock Wheeler.
Been to cleanups there before. It's massive, right? Dockweiler is always a huge strand, let's be honest. And a lot of stuff accumulates there. So good spot to choose, that's for sure. Head out there. Definitely. It'll be well attended. They just need that much more. There's never too many people when it comes to volunteering for these events. Usually they're a little short-handed, especially for beach cleanup. So it's a beautiful day. Otherwise, after 2 hours of cleaning up, you got a whole day to have a great time at the beach. So there will be a lot, I'm sure of it. All right. And of course, to all the watch parties, I know plenty of you guys had them this weekend and the games didn't turn out, but good on you guys for following through. I know a lot still made it out to certain events. Yeah, again, the faithful are the faithful. So good on you guys for doing that. All right. So let's get into it. I see a couple comments. Let's see what they got up here on the comments here, and then we'll go from there. I see Jason Ariano jumped on. He does say, I heard New Mexico United thought our match could have been played on Sunday. See you guys on Saturday. Yeah, you know what? New Mexico United is planning this massive road trip. I kid you not, out here, and so yeah, they've been planning for a while here. So moving up or otherwise, they'll be here and they'll be here strong. That's for sure. Again, looking forward to that. Mendo says, what's up, Heart of LAFC comrades? What's up, Mendo? He says, welcome back, Araceli. There it is. Oh, there's a question. Mendo was asking for you, Araceli. Was Matt Evans on the bench for the Houston match?
He was.
There you go. He's there. He's making it happen. Not much on the bench. He was in the locker room like all of the rest. So yeah, there's that. And then Gomez Jr. is on here. He says, I was excited for Martinez, but I feel he will see the pitch this Wednesday. Yeah, I know Martinez was listed to be a starter against Houston. I mean, that was kind of a wild lineup. I'll say that right now. But expected because of how many games we're going to play. And I thought it would have been fun just to see that one play out, but it is what it is. It's nice to be listed though. So yeah, I figure the guys that were itching to go this weekend are gonna be itching to go this Wednesday, and don't be surprised if it looks very similar. I'll leave it at that, of course. But those are the comments so far, guys. Do not hesitate. Keep firing away, especially as we get into this preview and it gets a little bit funky. Okay. All right. So let's get right to it. No hesitation. Into the preview. And we will go from there. All right. So we've got New Mexico United coming to town this Wednesday. Straight up, guys, 8 p.m. kickoff, a little bit later than normal. Tickets are still on sale. Tickets are pretty cheap. I think they were like $15 last time I heard. That can't be beat. I got to be honest. To watch LAFC 2, most likely most of their senior team feature in this because we want to win this thing. It's only 3 away. That's going to be a good one. Also, we need all hands on deck because their supporters are coming. They're going to have their flags. They're going to have their gear. They're going to put on their show that they do at what they call the lab in New Mexico. It's where the Isotopes play. It's a baseball field. So they're going to be doing their thing. They're called the Curse, just so you guys want to know. Their supporters are called the Curse. But they actually have a good crowd. And last week they had a record, or at least the largest crowd of the season of any USL team this past weekend. So they're well attended, they're well supported, and they're coming out strong. Good on them for doing that. That's what makes the Open Cup beautiful. That's why we like it so much. Because we get to see new faces and new teams, and in this case, a team that's doing pretty darn well for themselves. So, what does that mean? Well, they're doing very good. They're in first place in the USL, doing very well. Their home is a bit of a fortress. On the road, not so much. They do struggle a bit on the road, but again, they're still the top side in the league. Most games won by about a goal. They play it pretty tight. Systems wise, yeah, it's what you would expect, right? 4, 2, 3, 1. Yeah, a little bit more careful. Bam, can you hear me up there? Have you got a chance to look at anything about these guys?
No, I haven't much of a chance because unfortunately work's been hectic at the moment because we're going through a massive rain cloud at the moment that's flooding most of the road. So I haven't really had a chance to look into them, but I do know that they have been good quite lately.
Yeah, very good. Well, I've got the data, so it's okay. We will let it rip, man. You stay safe out there. Let me get into a little bit of the info on these guys. All right, so who to look for? Who's been standing out for them? Greg Hurst, 7 goals so far out of 16 games played, is their leading scorer. Daniel Bruce, second on the schneid, only 3 goals though. They seem to spread it out pretty well among the roster. If I'm looking at it correctly here, about 12 players have put one in the net already this year. So it's spread pretty well. 10 other players have got assists so far. So as you see the way they play, a little bit of an opportunistic setup. I did get a chance to check the highlights and a little bit of the last 2 games and did watch their RSL Open Cup game. And I can tell you there's a lot of opportunistic scoring with this team. Some stuff looks pretty darn scrappy from these guys. They can still develop well. They can still bring the ball in. But it can get sloppy. That's what I get from them, and a lot of crashing the net and dead ball stuff. So we got to be careful. Got to be, present defensively to deal with a team like this. Looking at the current situation again, they're 11-1-4. That's their record so far. They just played OC this weekend. It was a 2-0 victory against OC. In that game, when I mentioned the roster that they had, goalkeeper is Tabakis. Their center backs are Maples and Bear. Astorga and Gloucester, their outside backs. Defensive midfielder Landry and Bailey. They're going to be the controlling guys, right? And Micheletto is their attacking midfielder. They had Flanagan and Reyes on the outside with Bruce up top. Interesting name that popped up to me that I saw that just signed for them that might feature, I think, in our game. I think he's eligible. Is Abu Danladi, former Minnesota United player. I think it was like their number 1 draft pick at one point. It was now going to feature for New Mexico. So there is some MLS related names into this thing. Other names that might feature, Abdi Mohammed. He came in this game and scored within 10 minutes of subbing in. Seems to have that type of knack, you could say. Dominic Hernandez might feature as well. Another playmaker type, can also play defensive midfield. So there's some options there. Looking at the game against San Antonio, which they won 3-2 with a red card. Yeah, pulling off a road win, even though they were short a man. Go figure on that one. In that case, it looks like they had Hurst up top, Hernandez, Akale, Flanagan as their attacking midfielders, Landry, Bailey as their defensive midfielders. Center back situation was Hebert and Maples. No shock there. Astorga was not a starter. They had Mohammed on the right. Right. And Gloucester as your left back. So pretty similar. It does look like they shuffle rosters, though, pretty well here. You go back to the game against RSL where they won 4-2. Of course, how did they get here? They beat RSL and then they beat NYCFC 2. Those are the last 2 Open Cup wins to get to us. So that's what they're doing. They're giant killing is what they're doing. And their owner, he's a fun one, I gotta say. There's an ESPN FC interview. If you go on YouTube, check it out, about why he's doing what he's doing and how he's doing it. One of those vibes of they don't really need MLS. They're kind of proving that. That's what they're going for. So it should be fun. Should be interesting. Araceli, do you have any thoughts about this team? Have you had a chance to get a look at them?
Just looking at the roster, the name that pops out the most to me is Marco Merculetto because he comes from the MLS Next Pro side, having won the 2022 championship with Columbus Crew 2 and going back to the championship last season. Although Crew 2 did not win the second time in a row, he was the captain for that squad. Very good at feeding the ball into tight spaces. I believe he scored around like 19 goals in his time that he was with them. So he is a very dangerous player.
So we can expect a little bit of scoring prowess with this team. Of course, they're number 1 in their league. Expect it, but there's some players with some pedigree here, that's for sure, and a lot that aren't on they're not at the end of their trajectory, right? These could be names we might see in MLS down the line, right?
Absolutely. I think there is a good chance for him to come back to MLS. Personally, I want him to, but I mean, I'm not his manager, so.
Yeah, right. You got to pay the bills, right? That's how it goes. And if that's where it is, that's where it is. But yeah, this team, again, we cannot write them off. We cannot assume anything. They're going to have their home support. They're a very inspired side. They do play it pretty quick when they need to. Sometimes it looks a little bit like the wheels might come off the way they play, but that chaos can lead to problems, especially with a team like ours, where transition game is key, and we're going to be the team trying to push, especially with the setup that they have with that 4-2-3-1. So you expect them to drop back and look for counters on us, especially on the wings. They might be looking to say if Hollingshead is starting, trying to get behind him, trying to get behind our outside backs. That's what they do. That's how they play against other teams. So it kind of plays into their strengths and ours as well. So you could have a real back and forth in this game. But we all know with the skill and quality of our side, if they do get into that type of a shootout, it will only benefit us in the long run. So again, a good side for USL, probably the best team in the USL, playing against the best team in the West and someone who's threatening for the supporter shield. It's a test for them. It's a test for us, right? It's going to be a little bit interesting. That's for sure. Tony, your thoughts on this match going into it? Are you concerned?
I'm always concerned. Like New Mexico is a team to be not overlooked. Again,
Nope.
we can go back to Las Vegas, a team in last place, and we weren't again firing at the best. Firing at all cylinders, and we still ended up sneaking the win. But again, we can't take it lightly. We've done it before, Oh, we're just gonna put out our twos and the kids, and mind you, they are great, but we don't take it seriously. And if we do the same thing right now, it could end up happening where we get knocked out eventually. But I don't believe so. We're doing really well, depending on who we put out and how we perform. And if the boys take it like it's a game day actual knockout tournament, then we should have the win and move on.
Yeah, they got to take it serious, and I got to be honest. There's some guys like Aaron Long was mentioning how he only finished in the final with Red Bull, right? He never got that win, so he really wants it. Shanoa's, I know, talked it up. That's come up through the media. A couple of our veteran players that know it. Kamara's talked it up as well. So there's some veteran players that really want this thing. I don't think it's an issue of us not wanting it or just no. They know that this is your surefire way to get into the big tournament that we want to get into. And there's only 3 wins it's going to take to get there. And if you look at the bracket and you see who's left, if you get through this obstacle, it's a pretty decent path to the final. No matter who wins in the next round for the other side that we could face, we're capable of beating every team that's left in this tournament. More than capable of it. I think the biggest test would probably be the Sounders, and we know how their season's been. It's very off and on, and it is a rivalry, so it's a little tough. But that might be the strongest side we could face if we can get through this round. So it's very, very imperative that we can do this, and we believe we can. So they're gonna spend, I think, top end players for this. You'll have to also mention that we are playing Columbus this weekend, right? That is coming up. So you have to worry about, who gets short rest. Oh, and I don't think Columbus has anything midweek this week, so they get a whole week off. So they get rest, and we don't. So that will affect who we might see on the roster. Now, looking at the roster, of course, the last time we played against Carson, I know it was Kamara's your target man, Bogusz, Bawanga, Sanchez, Tillman, Atuesta, Long, Murillo, Palencia, Hollingshead, Lloris. What we do when it came time to play against Houston, who got featured in that? Romero in goal, right? His was the name that was listed for the Houston game. So I go to you, Tony. How shifted do you think this lineup? How cycled do you think it's going to be, or just some minor tweaks? What is your take on this week's roster since it's an Open Cup match?
There'll be some minor tweaks. I'll just say in the first one is goalkeeper it's Romero's. You know what I mean? This is his tournament.
Mhm.
This is the tournament that he's been playing, doing really well at it, saving us a couple times. You know what I mean? There's been some mistakes, but this is his tournament to show us why he's the backup and why we got him. And kept him along. So I think that's the only one I can see. Like if Lloris starts, but I think it's Romero's starting position for this cup.
There it is. All right. Defensive situation. I know they're listing Long as being with a leg injury. I don't know how real that is. It says late July, but sure about that? I'm not sure about that one. And of De La Valle, nothing's listed for New Mexico so far. I'm trying to look at the last roster. You guys see that that we used against Vegas. I think that's ancient history, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. Now, backline situation, Araceli. Who do you think we're going to feature as our center backs for this match?
Let's see. Center back. Kind of would go with Chanot and Murillo. I mean, they were ready for Houston, so I say start off with them.
Yeah, I can't help but feel like that Houston match was kind of, now that it didn't play, is kind of a tell us what we might see, right? Which brings us to the outside. I think, Tony, you're kind of in agreement. I think it's going to be those as well. I'll agree. What do you think, Tony?
Oh, I agree. Like I said, it was one of those. We were surprised on every position as we'll go into it, but I agree with that's going to be the starting lineup. If moving forward into Columbus, if we're resting another player and starting the other one, then I feel like that's going to be it moving forward.
Right. And of course, the outside back situation, I think it was, if I saw it correctly,
Campos.
yeah,
Campos and
Campos was there.
Yeah.
And
Valencia.
Palencia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Why wouldn't it be that? If Campos was ready to go, he's going to go again. And then Hollingshead, of course, it's like your guaranteed sub. We're not sure who it's going to be for, right? It could be Palencia, it could be Campos, but you kind of would expect that to be the situation. Again, midfield situation, of course, Segura was listed as a midfielder. I got to be dead honest with you guys. I think what it would have really looked like was Segura dropping back. I mean, I would have 3 center backs and the wing back situation. I think that's what it really was, but you know how they list these things. I feel that's what we were seeing is this real modified lineup, and it wasn't really accurate to what was listed. But I think this time, obviously, we're not going to play 3 center backs and wing backs against New Mexico. It's just not. I'm not seeing that vibe. Araceli, you're looking at the midfield. Who do you think gets to start? I know Sanchez didn't even he wasn't even listed to start on the day. Do you think he starts for this one?
Well, looking at this for Houston, they had Bogus, Segura, and Duenas. I see Duenas being a strong possibility. Probably put Ilya in there. I say keep Bogus in the mid. I don't know.
I could see that. I could. I can't help but think Atuesta, if Atuesta's available. He did play against Vegas, so why wouldn't he do this one too?
Well, Atuesta can play. Well, remember, Atuesta didn't play last game because we have someone to add into this situation for the midfield because they're eligible for the U.S. Open Cup, not the MLS season, and that's Tillman.
Oh,
remember,
yeah.
Tillman wasn't going to play last game, not because he was injured or anything. It was because of yellow card accumulation. So that's why I'm saying we could technically throw him in there because he is eligible for U.S. Open Cup, and it goes to the season.
That makes perfect sense. I mean, if he's not going to play on the weekend, he's going to play in this. How brutal is that? He was supposed to sit out against Houston, right? So he could play against Columbus, but the game gets canceled and the suspension carries over to that cruel twist of fate, right? All right. So Tillman's kind of the guarantee if that's the case, right?
Yes, but it's also it's also like a blessing. It's a curse and a blessing at the same time. We want him against Columbus, but So he gets rest. He gets a full week of rest before Wednesday's game, which is also a bigger game for the Western Conference. Like the Eastern Conference for Supporter Shield is a good game and revenge, but next Wednesday's game is a bigger opportunity for the top of the table if we continue the streak.
Yeah, bigger fish to fry. I get it. I totally do, but I want revenge. You want revenge. We all want revenge.
Oh yes, I want revenge.
I think we're going all out on Saturday. I think that's you got to. Now, that being said, if Tillman's in there, I mean, could we see an Ilie Duenas Tillman setup?
I could see that.
And then you save a Tuesta for if you need him late, or if you simply want to rest him and get him ready for Columbus, which is not a bad idea since it's going to be a very physical game.
Mm-hmm.
That game's going to be tough. Could be the case, and then Bogusz would just go up top, potentially. Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Definitely, if you guys on the comments throw your rosters out there, who you think is going to show up. But I think Duenas gets to start here. It's Open Cup. Tillman definitely getting the start, and Ilie or a Tuesta. I kind of think it's going to be, yeah. I think it's Ilie. But maybe a split time. You never know. Up top should be interesting. I mean, with the Kamara, Bogusz, Bouanga mindset, I feel like Bouanga is going to start. What about you, Tony?
No, he's gonna start, of course. Like he's always said, if he can play, he can play. He wants to play every game if he could.
Right, and we don't want to be RSL and hold. I think they held Chicho until like the 83rd minute or 78th minute, somewhere around there, 78 to 83. Late against New Mexico and brought him in to try to save the day.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just too late, right? I don't think we're going to put ourselves in a situation like that. We're going to go after these guys. So my thought on that. Now, Kamara, he's hungry. He's always hungry. He didn't have to play this weekend. Would you start him, Tony?
I would start him and bring him off the bench for the weekend game.
Interesting. Does Bogusz get the start on the wing?
Yeah,
Bogusz. Martinez.
I think that's one's a tough one because I would want to. I think if I'm gonna start Kamara, then I would rest Bogusz and bring in the second half and have Martinez get the run in with them. Like, mind you, I'm not taking New Mexico lightly, but Martinez for his first game back in the substitution, I forgot to bring it up. He was still back on pace of what he was doing when he left after the injury, the red card, and then the injury. Because that pass across the box in a pinpoint to I forgot who it was inside the box was beautiful. So I could see that as well.
I'd say don't be surprised if the top's gonna be Bouanga, Angel, and Martinez. First half. And if we need to make changes, we'll make them pretty quick in the second half. I say don't be surprised if it's the kids with Bouanga up top, especially Martinez. He looks ready, and Angel, he's got a goal already. He's hungry. Don't be surprised if it's that. You bring in the veterans later as needed. It could be that situation because they might want Kamara to be a target man. Because honestly, a big part of our winning streak, big reason we're undefeated in a very long time, is because Kamara's target striker opportunities, and you don't want to mess that up, right? You got Columbus coming, so you don't want to risk it. Araceli, who do you think is going to feature up top for this game?
Okay, first off, sorry for the brief interruption. My Wi-Fi literally just went out, so hello from my phone. Up top, I think I agree with Tony, seeing that Bouanga and Helen Martinez for at least the starting, and then maybe some rotation for the second half, if I heard you correctly.
It was more mine.
Yeah.
Oh, mine. Yours. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He wanted to go with Bogusz and Kamara, just our classic line, I think.
Okay,
right?
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now,
hey, Bam, can you hear us? We'll throw it to him too. Bam, who do you think's starting in this game? Throw your lineup. Let's go.
All right, so my front three is completely different to all of you guys. I'm doing Bogusz, Kamara, and Unhill. Wonga's going to have a rest for the first half.
Ooh. Insurance. All right, gotcha. Insurance. Your midfield, sir?
Midfield, Dwayne, Tillman, Wester for the first half.
Control it. Okay. Total control in that midfield. Got it. Your back line.
Back line, so you guys, back line's not going to change that much. We need to settle that down, get that in their strength. Hollingshead has a rest; he deserves it. And that's the best way to do it. And it's all it comes down to who's got niggles. If they've got niggle, don't play them.
Exactly. Yeah, if there's any knock, they're not getting into this thing. No way. No way. That's why, long as Listed is hurt, even if he wasn't, if there's anything, any thought, he's not getting on the field. So that's for sure. All right. I like it, guys. So there's our potential lineups. We'll see where you guys are at. I see a couple comments on here. So let's go for it. Boom. We got a lot. So yes, Mendo, you're correct. Says from the Open Cup bracket, it looks like we'll face Seattle or Sacramento Republic if we advance. That is true. And you know about the Cinderella story of Sacramento Republic. Always, this is their show, man. Always dangerous. That's for sure. Gomez Jr. says, with the rest of the post-1 match, do we see a healthy starting lineup squad this weekend? Hodgepodge, I think, is what we're going for, but we can. We have the luxury of having almost everyone available. Sounds like Long might not be. And he's at the gym. So, hey, catching us live. Look at you. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Mendo says this year, LAC has the best chance to lift the Open Cup. They do. The brackets kind of fell that way. Certain teams got eliminated early. This is our best shot, guys. It really is. And the way our schedule figures out, it's the right one, right? We don't have too many tournaments that we're stuck in. It's lighter than other teams' schedules. This is the run. This is what we should do. Soccer USA says fireworks seemed a little bit brighter and the beer tasted a little more refreshing on this 4th of July. Didn't it? It felt good. I will say that. Yeah, I'm gonna be digging that for a while until I get to face those fools again. And if they're worried about our crowd at the Rose Bowl, just wait till our crowd when it gets to Carson, because we'll black that bad boy out. You already know it. Mendo says, I trust Romero. He looks very focused and disciplined. Watching and training with Lloris gives him the confidence. Remember, there's 2 MLS veteran keepers with him now. So, and if you saw, Hasal was listed. So Lloris didn't travel with the team to Houston. Hasal was listed as the backup goalie on the day. Just saying. So that makes it interesting too. Question for Araceli. Says, any outside defenders LAC should be looking at for depth with our trio rotating well? Would be nice to have a young player developing. So I guess, what are your thoughts on our youth depth and defense?
I think a first teamer who's been developing well with LAFC too is Diego Rosales. He's a center back, I believe. He's been on the attack. Another one to kind of look out for is Luca Bambino. He favors the left wing, and he's just been one of the strongest defenders that we've had this season thus far.
Interesting.
When he's
So
not
there are
playing
some
internationally, of course.
right. When not pulled away, we get him at
Mhm.
home, and of course, Delevalle is going to be healthy soon, right? So
Right.
he's probably going to feature a little bit. There's definitely youngsters in our back line that are developing. So that's good news. That means we've got young forwards doing their thing. We already see some midfielders featuring that came through on all sides, guys. On all sides. Goalkeeper situation, Araceli, what's that looking like right now?
The current goalkeeper situation is still Ochoa, and he's been kind of holding down the fort, given obviously his little bit of a test run in St. Louis this past weekend. He seems to be doing well. So
Stability.
that's all I have.
Stability. Good. Well, that's good. No,
There
that's
hasn't
good.
been
Good to hear.
much rotation in the box lately, so I can't really compare him right now.
There we are. So he's deep in the depth chart, but he is definitely there. All right, Soccer USA has another thing. It says, not sure if you watched the Euros, but it was bum Giroud didn't get an appearance versus Portugal. Want him coming in hot from the Euros. I mean, the whole French team hasn't looked hot. Let's be honest. They're getting through, but their offense has been pretty stale. They need it from other sources, right? It's not been the greatest, and Giroud has not featured too great. Tony, are you concerned about that with the Giroud situation in France?
I'm not too concerned about that, to be honest. We already knew coming in for Giroud, this was his last, most likely his last Euros. As you've noticed, a lot of that generation has been bowing out and, saying it's the last Euros for them or international duty. Case in point, the other Mueller from Germany has stated that this might be his final appearance for the German national team. So I'm not too concerned. It's just less and wear and tear. And so when we do get him, he has more of fresher legs. Yes, I do want him hot, but again, he had a long season with Milan, and now he's in the Euro. So as much rest as he can on those legs. Again, he's not that young, but as much rest as he can get on those legs would be nice.
He might get some minutes in the next one because it's sounding like Griezmann might get limited minutes in this one. So should be interesting. A little shuffle going on over there, it sounds like. Soccer USA making fun of Carson, of course. He said, should MLS consider moving Carson to Las Vegas now? Nah, here's my thought now. I was wanting him to die off, right? But nah, the Harlem Globetrotters always have the Washington Generals to pick on, right? So they can be our Washington Generals. It's okay. It's okay. Mendo would like to see Segura give a key pass or assist versus New Mexico. Don't be surprised if he plays. He was listed for the last game. Do not be surprised if he plays. That could definitely happen. The man needs minutes too, and he's been coming in key moments for our games to lock stuff down. If you haven't noticed, he's kind of got like a specific assignment when he comes into the games. So we will see. Soccer USA says thoughts on strategy going to Leagues Cup with Giroud and potentially more arriving or leaving. The only strategy I have is don't get hurt. That's my only strategy for that tournament. I'm not the greatest fan of it. You already know that. I'd prefer to talk all day about the Open Cup and about 2 minutes at most about the Leagues Cup. I'm not a big fan of it. I won't be a big fan of it. I think it takes away. But if you're in a tournament, got to give it your best, right? You want to win the darn thing. And if that's the Giroud show, let it be the Giroud show. Honestly, strategy-wise, I got to say it's going to be exactly the same as what we already play. Slot in Giroud for Kamara for Giroud. The roles will be similar. Won't see much difference there. Everything around it will look pretty much the same. Tony?
The only strategy I have going into Leagues Cup, if we're going to do this once Giroud come, is don't, again, different quality player, different caliber kind of player, but let him get comfortable in the new system before you just throw him to the wolves. You know what I mean? That's all I want, because I don't want a Gonzalez situation, Mr. Pistola, where we just threw him in and never got what we should have got from him. But again, it was early enough to show that he wasn't the right fit, and that was lucky for us. And this is why we have Drew now.
Look, how long did it take for Bouanga to score a goal for us? Right? He had a battle on his hands to get across the line. Adjusting is hard in this league. It's not a cakewalk. Right? It's not. It's not easy. Yes, there's one guy in the league right now that makes it look easy when he walks in the door, but he is who he is. At the end of the day, it is hard. This league is a grinder. It is. You have to adjust to things with the travel, with all the other stuff. So don't expect him to instantly come in and be like, Liga MX is trash. I'm just going to handle these guys. It's not trash. It's hard to play against these teams. They're defensively better organized than MLS teams. Let's be real here. It won't be easy for him. And it'll be very physical from the jump. So you can't It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be, yeah, there he is. He's going to kill it. He might. I mean, there's always that chance, but measure your expectations for the first few games at least. I think Tony's 100% correct on his assessment here. 100%. Soccer USA says thoughts on Dueñas, Campos, Segura, Angel, Ordaz becoming closers. We've been shutting the door on the recent runs of wins. Don't seem to miss a beat. They are coming in with specific assignments and then holding down the fort. It is no mistake. They're doing exactly what they need to as our substitutes in these games. More freedom when they get starting roles at times. But yeah, look at defensively where we're at compared to where we were at the start of the year. It's because of those guys, right? Helping us out towards the end of these games. I think I've been delightfully surprised with where Campos is at now as opposed when we first saw him with this team. Almost like a different player, to be honest with you. Very good situation. Ordaz does Ordaz things on hell. He's getting healthy. That's why he's playing that way. And let's be real, Segura had struggles early on, coming back from the injury that he had. But I don't know about you guys. I wouldn't call him a liability anymore, right, Tony? He seems pretty locked in.
Nope, not a liability. He's locked in. Like all the players that we've mentioned are locked in. So it's again different season since the beginning of the season. Different players. They've finally hit where they've kind of fixed their little hiccups, and hopefully we continue on this run with them closing and continuing their assignments as fitting.
Now, I'm going to go to you, Araceli. Of the names that he just listed, who's impressed you the most so far this year?
I have to say Angel and her dad has definitely impressed me the most. I mean, of course, Dueñas, but I haven't really seen too much out of him aside from what he's done earlier in the season.
Right. I think his role is definitely a cancel out kind of guy right now, which is okay, and move the ball. So it's not the most glamorous role he plays, but he plays it. Right. He plays the part, and we know that. But yeah, Ordaz and Angel, I'm with you that it's been fun to watch where they're at and the confidence build. I think that's the best thing. Watch the young guys get the confidence. So it's good. I'm letting the Foster's comment go, Soccer USA. He can't answer you right now anyways. We're going to let that one go. Soccer USA says, are they always going to have a 4th of July game at the Rose Bowl, or will we get it at SoFi or the Coliseum? Well, SoFi is a roofed building, so fireworks and SoFi, not much of a thing there, right? It probably is very expensive, let's be honest. Coliseum, I could see the Coliseum down the line being used, though it's chaos on the 4th down there. It's kind of fun down there, but yeah, it's chaos on the 4th around our stadium. So yeah, the rumors were that this current one was supposed to be there, and it just didn't happen. And then ended up going back to the other guys. But yeah, I honestly I don't want to be back at the Rose, man. Unless you want to play it in the fall, unless you want to play it in the spring. But man, summertime's not. It's just not pretty at the Rose Bowl. Arroyo Seco takes half your life away, and I saw people fainting, and that's just not fun. Right, Tony?
Right. Yeah, it was no. Please just give me fall, give me spring. Don't give me summer again, please. Please.
Yeah, no football lines either. Okay, we'll just throw that out there too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, Mendo, you had to bring this one up, and I guess we do have to answer this. There he is. Opinions on Dolo for U.S. national team. Would Ante accept LAFC's head coaching job? I don't want to think about it. I got to be honest. Dolo is doing Dolo things for us, and we're on such a great roll. It would be super disruptive. Yeah, I've been involved in teams where they've purged a coach for the national team, and it never ends well when they do that, especially in the middle of a season. I got to be honest. I think if they're going to go for an MLS coach, one, there's going to be a bit of a firebomb situation with the U.S. supporters. They're going to lose their minds because they want something else. But I would hope they'd have the decency to go with somebody interim, because how many games are on the schedule going into fall, and let the season end before you put some in permanent. That would be preferred for me. I don't think that's going to be it. I think they're pressured to go quick. So we'll see what happens. Klopp would be fun, but I think he needs a rest, and he said he needs a rest. He's not coming this way, guys. It's just not. They'd have to offer him so much money. They have it. Let's be honest, U.S. Soccer has it. But Klopp has been very, very open about the need to breathe. I think it's the easiest way to say it is the man needs time off. So if it's Dolo, then it's going to be Dolo. I can't blame him if he takes it. Who wouldn't want to take it? But I got to be honest, our real head coach, the guy that should be the manager of Team USA, is leading Canada to greatness right now. And there goes that with my opinions. All right. Mendo says, I want to see Boanga, Angel, and Bogus up top with Sanchez, Duena, and Tillman in the midfield. There you go. There you go. Mendo says, until Dola gets MLS Cup and CONCACAF Champions Cup, I don't agree with him leaving yet. I'll throw this one out there. What about Brian Schmetzer? He's done a lot.
Yeah, but
Done a lot. Yeah.
Again, with the supporters, from what I've been hearing, and I'm not even part of like the U.S. support, so it's like I'm just word of mouth, and like what's going on is they feel they want more European experience out for the coaches if it's going to be Dolo or the other one, because they want that European experience, which it's a whole conversation of what's wrong with the U.S. national team.
Grumble. Yeah, I want international coaches, but I don't want them to speak international languages.
No, it's more of like the development and the grittiness. Yeah. Let's be honest. Like we're playing like a pay to play. They're playing like a pay to play team, and they don't have a fight. They say they're gonna do it. They say they have it, but at the end of the day, it's like they're not. This is not their ends all be all kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you had a guy come in to shake things up, and you tore him apart for it, right? You had a guy with international experience, and you tore him apart for it and sent him packing. If I was a foreign coach, I would have nothing to do with Team USA right now. Yeah, no. Especially with the locker room that looks so closed in. That's a hard job to take. That's for sure.
Here's a hot take. Have them take Vermees. That will solve all Sporting's issues. I'll leave it at that.
Oh my God!
I've told you in the past he would be a fit for the national team. I have told you that. And y'all gonna kill me on that one, but I could tell you tactically and the way he approaches the game, he kind of fits the players that we have. But he's not leaving. He will not leave SKC until they boot him out. He ain't going nowhere. I don't think he is. But Schmetzer, I'm telling you, he's part of the program anyway. Could happen. I'm doing anything to lean away from Dolo right now. Mendo says, not really into coffee, but I tried one called Red Eye. It was delicious. Tony, what coffee do you recommend? We're doing coffee stuff now. Tony, coffee preferences?
I am a 4-shot over ice kind of guy all the time. So if you want an extra one, just order a black eye, which is a red eye is a shot of coffee, is a coffee with a shot of espresso. A black eye is 2 shots. If you want something sweet, a Campana is really nice. If you want something a little bit sweeter and a little bit creamier because it's summer, I would suggest grabbing your favorite ice cream, chocolate or vanilla if you prefer, and putting the shots over ice on that one. And yeah, that's kind of recommendation.
Italian desserts. What you doing over there, man? I dig you. It is good though. Coffee with ice cream. I can't lie. That's pretty good stuff.
Just like Tony always says, my coffee orders are like milkshakes, basically.
Yeah,
same here.
Much. Well, this is why I recommend
coffee person. So
this is why I recommended a very sweet drink that's very strong and it's easier to down. If you want to take, like, I can recommend an Undertow, and most people don't know what that is, and that's super sweet and like super quick to get down. Iced coffee, you can do a lot of different things with that. So yeah. Again, we could have this whole conversation about what coffee to do and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So let's just But if you're at the bank, of course, iced coffee with horchata over there is my go-to, or just the regular iced coffee there from the bank.
Are we in Miami? Cafe con leche, of
Yep.
course, leche evaporado. Best thing you'll ever have in your life.
I literally
I'll
just had that the other day. One of our coffee shops here has a version of it.
Oh,
So
so
good.
good stuff. So good.
So good.
Yes.
Anywho, moving
So
on.
there we go. On to the football side of things. Dolo. Yeah, Soccer USA says Dolo needs to keep developing. I'll give him 3 more seasons with the LAFC until Hanover calls. Dude, I give it 1. But if he wins it this year, I think he's gone. But that's me. Soccer USA, then we'll call him Governor Dolo. Yep. Yeah, Carlos C. giving us his Cafe de Leche in Highland Park. Great coffee, highly recommend. Like it, man. Like it a lot. Kickball Pod, Easy W versus New Mexico. At your own risk, sir. At your own risk. I would not say that because they have already taken out RSL, and last time I checked, RSL humbled us. So yeah. Soccer USA, cafecito con futbolito equals happiness. Right? I not gonna lie, coffee's amazing. He knows. Tony knows. I love my coffee too. Kickball Pod says Diego Luna and Chicho in town this weekend. Diego Luna, man, that guy should have been on the Olympic team. I'll just leave it at that. Yeah. And Chicho, the guy that got away. I know, guys. I know. Kickball Pod says cervecita con football equals happiness. And I'll just say victory at sea where your coffee and your beer is put together from Ballast Point. Yeah, there's something there, man. There we go. All right. Love it, guys. Love the comments. Y'all rock tonight. You kept us to an hour. Check you guys. A full episode out of this one. When it looked like it was going to be a half. Our guys doing their thing. Thank you all for the comments. I know. I think this kind of concludes our preview for the night. Y'all killed it. We'll see you at the stadium on Wednesday, 8 p.m. kickoff. 8 p.m. kickoff. 8 p.m. kickoff. Tony's dying right now because he's, are you serious? It's an 8 p.m. kickoff. It is. It's because it's the U.S. Open Cup. Tony, you going to cry?
I'm just mentally preparing myself. I just realized I thought it was going to be 7:30 and just like everything else, but I'm mentally preparing myself for the extra long hours. So let's go. Let's go.
That was a
Think of it
blessing
this
for
way.
me.
It's 8 o'clock for you guys, 11 o'clock at night for me. Okay.
You're at home in your bed.
Good thing we're talking about coffee. See, guys, the coffee thing plays itself. It does. It does. The later time helps me so I can go set up this week. So there you go. All right. I think that's how we're going to wrap things up today, guys. So final comments, final thoughts. You know how this thing works. Araceli, since you're the first one to go to bed tonight, clearly you better go to bed, right? It's late for you. I'll give you the start on the final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Like any other home match, just please don't be stupid. Always have a plan B for a ride home, whether that's an Uber or a friend or anyone really. Well, safely, of course. But just have a great time at the game. I know for myself, Sporting is hosting Dallas, so I will be at that match. So speaking of 8 o'clock kickoffs, ours is at 8 o'clock at night. So I wish I was in my bed, but I'll be at the stadium. Um, but other than that, I mean, I'm just wishing you guys just all the luck. Obviously, you know, I'll be tuning in, and of course, can't wait to talk about it again on Thursday and to preview Columbus. Because I hesitate to kind of mention this because we're still trying to lock him down, but we might have someone join us for that preview. So,
looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. That's for sure. So there it is. Thank you, Araceli, for that. Hopefully we'll get that guest on as well. Go get some rest because it's going to be a long week for you. That's for sure. Tony, your final thoughts?
Final thoughts, stay hydrated. Again, summer. It's hot. It is, don't want dehydration from anybody. So liquid is very nice. So drink responsibly as well. And, since Bam's not here, it's okay not to be okay. If you need to talk to one, just reach out to any one of us. Even you can reach out to us if you like, or, reach out to one of your buddies, play whatever you like, catch a game, catch the Euros, catch F1, talk sports, talk anything that's going on at the moment. But make sure you just check up on your mates because you never know what's going on in their lives.
There we go. Thank you, sir, for that. To Bam, thank you for trying to jump on tonight on the drive. Thank you for being careful with your drive, knowing the weather is horrible as it is, and doing the right thing and being careful. To you guys, again, another late night, another great podcast with you guys giving great comments. The amazing news from Araceli, of course, from LAFC2. Highly in-depth news. Awesome every time. Tony with the coffee tips. Now I got to get ice cream on our coffee. You never know what you're going to get on the Heart of LAFC. So there we are. All right. And for me to all you guys, of course, be careful. So the New Mexico supporters coming inbound, please travel safe. We enjoy your visits. We're happy you're coming down. Again, it's always better to have supporters on the other side in these games. A little more atmosphere never hurt anybody. So we're happy that you guys are coming down. Just travel safe, that's for sure. The rest of you guys trying to get home from Texas and for the state of Texas, and everybody in Houston trying to survive this crazy thing. Yeah, we're thinking about you. That's for sure, and hope everybody's safe. On that note, final word. Araceli.
Stay golden.
Tony.
Stay golden, Los Angeles.
And from me to all of you, and on behalf of Bam as well, stay golden.
Thank you for listening to the Heart of LAFC. Make sure to leave us a rating and review on iTunes or Stitcher. Shoulder to shoulder, the black and gold is taking over.